Alright, quick update on Link. Now, this is a cryptocurrency that I have not covered for quite some period of time now. I think it's been maybe a month, maybe it's been longer. I have noticed a lot of the open interest for Link has diminished since the previous bear market. And you might be wondering, what do you mean the previous bear market? Was there not interest for this in the bull market? But what is actually very interesting, and one reason why I used to love Link, is back in, if you zoom out, you can see, the top for Bitcoin was coming in December of 2017, and almost all of the altcoins massively underperformed against Bitcoin. Basically, all of the altcoin BTC pairs got massively capitulated and slaughtered. But what's very interesting is, look, you look at the top here, December 2017, it would have made sense for all the altcoins to underperform against Bitcoin, right? But this is actually very interesting, because you can see since September, before the top on Bitcoin, I mean, if we come over to the literal top, which was roundabout here, you can see Link really didn't have a bear market against Bitcoin. This is the Link BTC pair. This is not the Link USD pair. But what's super interesting is you can see it had a huge rally against Bitcoin. And I remember being back in the market in this day. I remember Link was one of my first favorite cryptocurrencies, and I used to hold it. I used to love this. And I noticed that there's a lot more competitors for Link. Link is predominantly a smart contracts company, and there's been a lot of development in the smart contract space, which has kind of left Link in the dust. But I'm very interested to know. I'm going to be looking at this a lot during the bear market that I believe we're currently in. And I'm super interested to see if Link BTC can have a turnaround, and if Link will actually be performing better than the other altcoins. Let's start off by checking off Link USD, because clearly at this moment in time, you can kind of see Link topped in May of 2021, and coming in for May 2021 of Bitcoin is, let's see, March, April, May. This was pretty much when Bitcoin had its first top. It came down, had a massive crash, and then it came up and put in a slight high. But during this time for Link, this was when Link massively capitulated, and it never really recovered since then. It had a dead cat bounce, and instead of putting in a new all-time high like a lot of other altcoins did, we just continued to get capitulated. I believe, you can see from this low to this high, we came up. We didn't get invalidated from a fib on the way up. We kind of just got wicked out. Candle body close got wicked out on the 382, and then we just broke down, came up to the 0.5, got rejected, broke down, almost came up to the 618, got rejected. We came up to this high, got rejected, and now we're rolling down, and obviously we are in a huge downtrend at this moment in time. What's interesting to note is on the weekly, you can see volume is still kind of exponentially increasing. It is Saturday today, and it would be interesting to see if we can get this volume candle rivaling this previous candle, because then we'd have a line of best fit, something like this. Obviously, having these big wicks to the upside as well, it doesn't necessarily have to mean that the price has to have a bigger wick than the previous one. But I think a line of best fit, something like this, if this pushed up a little bit more, it would be pretty nasty for Link. And I do think a lot of the altcoins are soon to capitulate. So let's talk about what we're seeing in the lower time frames. On the daily, you can see it looks like we've had what I call a bunny hill back up to the EMA ribbons. You can see if we look down here on the squeeze mom, every time this turns into dark red, it's indicative that the bears are either taking a break or losing control. But pairing this with the bunny hills, and what I mean by bunny hills is we kind of euphorically run up, we kind of start to round out, lose momentum, and then we get pushed right back down. You can see during both of the most recent times where we've run out of bearish momentum, it kind of is it almost looks like the bears have just taken a breather. They've let the bulls come up to the EMA ribbons, test them as resistance, and every time we've further capitulated. And I can draw this back many times. Once again, you can see you had a bunny hill here. If I zoom out here, you can see this was from here, because this was not a lack of momentum. This was bulls trying to switch back. It was a fake out. On the lack of momentum here, I'm trying to see where it was. You had a baby bunny hill, and then this greater bunny hill as we were losing momentum, and then we just rolled back down. So every time we have these bunny hills, we just further capitulate to the downside, and in my opinion, at this moment in time, it seems like this is what we're doing. Bears are still very evidently in control of Link against the US dollar, so I do think we have further to capitulate. Zooming out, as I do think we are going to break down to lower price targets. Unfortunately, this is interesting as well. You can see from this range to this top to the 2.618, you've got a plethora of potential support regions, and I don't necessarily think that they have to hold, but it is interesting to note that we could definitely be having a bounce. I mean, we've already had a bounce from this zone. Now I've highlighted it. You can see you've got wicks up here, you've got wicks up here, you've got candle body closes here, you've got candle body closes here, candle body closes here, and as you got above this box, which was these wicks here, you can see you took out these all-time highs. This is when you had a huge rally. Also, 2.618 Fibonacci sitting right here, so an absolutely perfect area of confluence within the market right now. I think between the ranges of $5.13 and $4.38, we could at least potentially see a little bit of a hard time for the bears to get over this level. Looking at the price is exponentially dropping, the squeeze mom is exponentially increasing on the weekly, and the volume is exponentially increasing on the weekly. These are all telltale signs that the bottom is not unfortunately in at this moment in time. I do think we are at least, bear in mind, I think we're at least coming down to the 2.618, and like I said, it does not have to hold. I'm going to see how much of a percentage drop this is, and it would be another 37% drop. In my opinion, coming over to this Bitcoin chart, this is what I think is going to play out for Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is going to come down to the 200-week moving average at 22,000. That would be another 25% drop for Bitcoin before we find the bottom. I think these two scenarios are very, very similar. And also the RSI, we're clearly still in a huge bear market on this. I made a specific video on this yesterday. Volume still exponentially increasing in terms of bearish volume. All signs point for a 25% capitulation on BTC USD, at least according to my analysis, in my opinion. For that reason, looking at how kind of blatantly Link BTC has been underperforming against Bitcoin, I mean, you can see since the capitulation that's only been taking place in the past couple of weeks, how long has this been going on for? So the past 133 days, the past 19 bars on the weekly, so the past 19 weeks worth of data, you know, we've capitulated almost 70%. We're sitting at 66% to the downside at this moment in time. So it's very evident that if Bitcoin goes down, BTC Link, or Link BTC rather, is going to get slaughtered. So I think me expecting that Bitcoin's going to move down 25%, I think Link would unfortunately be moving down another level to the downside than that, and it looks like we must have gone up further, or I must have moved this because I wouldn't have ever drawn a fib up to here. So your 2.6 might have moved a bit. Was this a weekly close? Why did I draw? Oh, I think I must have. Was I drawing from the weekly close? No, I wasn't. So I must have drawn this wrong. My apologies. So let me move this back over, back up to the top. I need to start locking these. I think I accidentally grab them and drag them sometimes. But you can see your 2.6. This would make more sense for the support box to move down another level. Let's see if there's going to be any confluence with the 2.6 down here. This would be a brutal drop. Not many touch points back there in terms of the history that we've had, but I think we could move down another 58% against the US dollar. Now, this is basically assuming that Link does not outperform Bitcoin if we do enter another bear market type state. And you know, it's interesting to see that at least as we are entering a bear market now, in my opinion, it is fairly obvious we're clearly not exceptionally bullish. You know, we've broken back below these lows. When we broke back below these lows, I mean, were we in a bull market coming down from 5k to 3k? I don't think so. So, you know, we obviously came back to the 200-day here. This was clearly a bear market complete. So if we do come down to the 200-day, I don't think at all that we would still be in the same bear market. I think this would be we wouldn't be in the same bull market, we'd be entering a bear market, then we'd have a different cycle if we did go up to higher price targets. That's my thinking of this. But like I said, looking at this, it's very, very clear that unfortunately Link is massively capitulating against BTC. And at least at this moment in time, we're not doing what we did in the previous bear market where Link outperforms BTC. So it's very sad to see, but it seems like the market outlier that we did all know and love from the previous cycle is not doing what it did before. So this will be interesting to see how it plays out. If we do break through the floor of this as well, we could capitulate a lot harder. So be very careful trading altcoins right now. Bitcoin dominance, in my opinion, is about to blast up. This would mean that the altcoins are going to get slaughtered, and I do think Bitcoin has a tiny bit further to capitulate before we do find a bottom. So this would probably mean Link BTC and Link USD have further to go down. I think a somewhat conservative price target would be around these previous highs at $5. But if you're more like me and you think that we could go a little bit lower, I think basically $3, $2.92 to be exact, is the more likely scenario where we could come down to. That's all I've got for Link. I hope you found some value in this video. I do potentially look at picking up some Link coming into the next bull market, but I'd really want to see once again Chainlink BTC, you know, going up and outperforming against Bitcoin, because until I see that, I don't see any reason for me to sell any Bitcoin into Chainlink while, you know, Link is clearly underperforming against Bitcoin. One last thing to note is I don't think we're seeing it here, because no, you haven't. You've capitulated below here. And also it's flat, so it would be very hidden if it was on the OBV. But what you're actually seeing is you're seeing some bullish divergence, because the price at the moment is going lower and the money flow indicator is going higher. I think we've got this pulled up here, the divergence cheat sheet. Price going down, oscillator going up. So this is strong bullish divergence. However, I would not take this to the bank at this moment in time. I do think breaking down in the short term is more likely than breaking up. This bullish divergence might be the first signs of the reversal coming in the next couple of months, which is kind of what I predict with us coming down for one last capitulation and then breaking out to these levels. At this moment in time, if Bitcoin comes down to 22, I think Link BTC would get slaughtered. But after that, if Bitcoin starts to move up, it will be interesting to see if Chainlink can finally start outperforming against Bitcoin and other altcoins. That's all I've got. Hope you found some value in this content. As always, cowboy out, not financial advice. Peace.